The Joint Research Facility on Korath 5 was a squat cluster of interconnected biodomes perched on a rocky plateau overlooking endless grasslands. The Iron Jaw had permitted the Federation outpost only after years of negotiation. Their world was rich in minerals, but their culture was insular. Iron Jaw were massive, bear-like beings, broad shoulders, thick russet fur, jaws that could crack femurs like twigs, and a digestive system that treated raw meat and tough tubers as gourmet. Cooking, to them, was an insult to nature's perfection. Fire ruined flavor. Seasonings masked weakness. The juveniles arrived in the third year of the exchange program. 12 Iron Jaw cubs, aged between 8 and 11 standard months. Already the size of full-grown wolves, with blunt muzzles, curious amber eyes, and appetites that could empty a storeroom in an afternoon. The adults had brought them for exposure to galactic norms, but mostly to test whether the soft-skinned humans could be trusted around their young. The cubs were bored within hours. They prowled the common area, knocking over sample crates, gnawing on metal chair legs, and growling at the automated feeders that dispensed flavorless nutrient paste. The Iron Jaw Minders, 2 stern females named Gra and Vok, growled warnings, but the cubs only grew more restless. Raw slabs of local herd beast were provided daily, yet the juveniles barely touched them. Something was missing. Benjamin Davis noticed it on day 3. He was the outpost's quartermaster and unofficial cook, former line chef from New Manila, drafted into the Federation's long-range science teams because he could make ration packs taste like actual food. Benjamin kept a small galley in Dome C, induction burners, spice racks smuggled from 3 continents, and a battered pressure cooker his abuela had once used for adobo. He was sautéing onions, real ones grown in the hydroponics bay, when the first cub poked his head through the doorway. The cub was the largest of the litter, a male with a crooked left ear and a white blaze across his chest. He froze, nostrils flaring at the unfamiliar scent. Sizzling fat, caramelizing sugars, garlic blooming in hot oil. Benjamin glanced up. "Hey, big guy. Hungry?" The cub didn't answer. He simply stepped inside, followed by 3 more. Soon 6 juveniles crowded the galley entrance, ears pricked, tails slowly wagging. Benjamin considered his options. Protocol said, "Do not feed alien juveniles without parental consent." Common sense said, 12 hangry bear wolves in a confined space were a bigger diplomatic incident than a little culinary experiment. He pulled a tray of seared herd beast strips from the warmer, plain as the adults preferred, then paused. "Hold on." He reached for the spice drawer. A pinch of smoked paprika, a dash of cumin, a whisper of garlic powder, a drizzle of the herb-infused oil he'd made last week. He tossed the strips in the pan for 30 seconds, just enough to bloom the spices without ruining the meat. Then he plated the strips on a metal tray and set it on the floor. The cub with the crooked ear approached first, sniffed, hesitated, took one cautious bite. His eyes widened. He inhaled the rest in 2 gulps, then looked up at Benjamin with something dangerously close to adoration. The other cubs surged forward. Within minutes, the tray was licked clean. Benjamin leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "Well," he muttered, "that's one way to make friends." Word spread among the cubs faster than fire through dry grass. The next day, 8 showed up. Benjamin started simple. Stir-fried vegetables. They discovered they liked the crunch of carrots, scrambled eggs from the hydroponic chickens, forbidden decadence, and a basic pan sauce reduction using local fruit acids. He taught them knife skills, carefully with blunt training blades, showing how to dice roots into uniform cubes so they cooked evenly. He demonstrated how heat changes texture. Sear for crust, braise for tenderness, roast for depth. The cubs listened with rapt attention. They mimicked his gestures. One female, smallest of the group with a notched ear, began arranging her own plate in neat rows, copying the way Benjamin plated for presentation. Another figured out how to flip meat with a spatula and beamed when it landed perfectly. Gra and Vok discovered the illicit lessons on day 5. They stormed into the galley to find 12 cubs perched on stools, far too small for them, intently watching Benjamin demonstrate how to make a pan jus from deglazed fond. Gra's growl rattled the pots. "What is this blasphemy?" Benjamin didn't flinch. "They're eating," he said simply. "And they're happy. Look at them." The cubs froze, ears flat, waiting for punishment. Gra stepped forward, nostrils working. She sniffed the air, rich, layered, intoxicating. One cub, the crooked ear male, nudged a small bowl toward her. A single piece of braised shank, glossy with reduction, sprinkled with fresh herbs from the grow lights. Gra stared at it. Then, slowly, she took it in her jaws, chewed once, twice, her eyes closed. When she opened them again, the growl was gone. Vok tasted next. Silence stretched. Finally Gra spoke. "This is not weakness." Benjamin shrugged. "It's just food. Better food." The adults left without another word. The next morning they returned, not to stop the lessons, but to observe. By week 2 the cubs had favorites. Crooked Ear loved anything with cumin and smoked chili. Notch Ear invented spicy root mash, mashed tubers with crushed local peppers, and a dollop of cultured cream Benjamin had started in a jar. The smallest female, now nicknamed Pip by the humans, specialized in desserts. Fruit compote thickened with starch, served warm over toasted grain cakes. They began experimenting. One cub tried grilling slabs over an open flame, carefully monitored. Another discovered that slow roasting bones produced a broth so rich the entire galley smelled like home. Benjamin taught them ratios. Acid balances fat, salt enhances sweet, heat builds flavor layers. He showed them plating, how color and arrangement made food more appealing. The cubs took to it like a new hunt. Precision, creativity, reward. The Ironjaw elders arrived unannounced on day 18. A full delegation, 6 massive adults, fur streaked with silver, filed into Dome C during a lesson on emulsified sauces. The cubs snapped to attention, tails stiff. Benjamin stepped forward, wiping hands on his apron. "Elders, welcome." The lead elder, broadest of them, voice like grinding stone, surveyed the scene. 12 juveniles wearing makeshift aprons, old lab coats tied around their necks, chopping vegetables with focused intensity, a pot of stew simmering on the induction ring. He sniffed the air. Then he rumbled, "Our young have changed." Benjamin met his gaze. "They've learned they can honor the hunt and still enjoy the meal." The elder approached the stove. Benjamin handed him a tasting spoon. A single sip of the stew, herd beast, root vegetables, garlic, thyme, a splash of fermented berry vinegar. The elder's eyes widened fractionally. He set the spoon down. "Our tradition says fire destroys truth. You have shown our cubs that fire can reveal deeper truths." He turned to the juveniles. "You will continue these lessons. But now you will teach us." The cubs' tails wagged so hard they knocked over stools. That evening the entire Ironjaw delegation sat at long tables in the common dome. Benjamin and the cubs served. Roasted haunch with herb crust, creamy tuber mash, braised greens, fruit reduction drizzled over warm cakes. The adults ate in reverent silence. When the last bowl was cleared, the lead elder rose. "Human," he said, "you did not force this upon us. You offered. Our young accepted. Therefore we accept." He placed a massive paw on Benjamin's shoulder, gently, carefully. "You will be known as Firebringer, and our dens will remember." Word spread beyond Korath 5. Samples of the human-spiced meats reached Ironjaw population centers. Requests for exchange cooks followed. Within a year, Ironjaw youth programs included mandatory flavor arts modules taught by human instructors, and on quiet nights in the galley, when the cubs had gone to sleep in their heated dens, Benjamin would sometimes find a small bowl left on the counter. A single perfect bite of whatever they'd cooked that day, arranged with care. Thank you. Promise. Because humanity hadn't conquered the Ironjaw with weapons or words. They'd done it with salt, heat, and the simple, stubborn belief that food should taste like joy. And joy, it turned out, was the most addictive flavor of all.